Well, hello and welcome to the Developing Dads podcast. We are on episode number 55. 55, and Neil's just chomping into a mince pie, if anyone wants to listen to that as he eats with his microphone next to his mouth. Yeah, we are on episode number 55. We are coming close to the end of the year. Probably the second last one. We're still going to do one next week, I reckon, Neil.
Yeah.
That should set us up, basically. But yeah, anyway, we are on episode number 55. We have recorded, this is our second one this week, and I'm not sure we need to go through the process of asking us how we are, but maybe there's some events that have happened in the past 2 or 3 days. But I have managed to get set up. If you are following us or watching us on YouTube, I've managed to set up an actual camera, and I've got a bit more of a professional, I've got a blue background, all sorts of bits and pieces. So this feels like a more permanent setup, because I've just been kind of, you know, when you procrastinate on something, Neil, it's like a mess, and then you're like, I can't be bothered trying to sort the mess out, and just the idea of sorting it out just annoys you. But now I've sorted it out because we've got a guest staying tonight because it's Christmas Eve, and I had to tidy the spare room.
Nice. Yeah, I hate when my office gets a mess. I mean, I've got like toys, food that kids bring me, and yeah, just like I've still got my beer from 3 days ago, Gordon.
That's disgusting.
It's like a little man cave. Just got random stuff on my desk, which annoys me, but I go through stages of like, let's tidy up.
For me, it's often the worst part is I deal with a lot of cables. I've got like mini HDMI, USB-C, USB-A, mini something, cable XLR, you know, it gets everywhere, and you're trying to store it somewhere, and it's just annoying. Like, you can maybe see in the background here, there's like bags of stuff, which I'm just trying to organize at the moment. So yeah, I managed to get through it, but I'm very happy with this more professional setup. We should get you set up with something a bit nicer, Neil, rather than your 720p webcam.
Well, now you can actually use the iPhone 14 as a webcam.
Yeah.
So I should maybe just try and hook that up.
It's very easy. It's because I can use my 13 as well, and you can just set it up.
As an option. Yeah,
it's cool. Anyway, yes, today's episode, we're going to be talking about basically we're going to be reviewing our goals from 2022. How successful or unsuccessful have we been with them? And we can share our excuses and our woes and how that might influence our goals going forward in 2023. But again, as always with this type of thing, we're going to, milk the content as much as possible. So we'll talk about our goals for 2023 in the next episode. I have to sit down and sort of work out what we want them to be. But any highlights since the last time we talked, Neil, or have you just got drunk like you usually do?
I think it's been 2 nights. So I've had, last night there was a few drinks involved. We had friends round who were kind of giving us some Christmas presents. They stayed for coffee, and then it turned into beer and Prosecco, which was nice. That's the kind of highlight. It's been just like, I did a mad shop yesterday. So 8 a.m. I went to Tesco thinking I'll be organised, and it was so busy, rammed. But I've done all the food shopping, alcohol shopping, spent a small fortune, but I'm stocked up for the next 2 or 3 days.
I too went to Tesco's yesterday to pick up some minor essentials. My main task was to get some alcohol, some wine. So, by the way, if anyone is looking for good wine or ever looking for good wine, Tesco's do their finest range, and it's usually from a pretty prestigious like vineyard, but they just self-brand it, so it'll be like a Tesco's whatever. And I picked up a Margaux, which is very, very nice, and a Chablis. So the Chablis is probably going to go nicer with the turkey. You know, if it's just Chardonnay, it's nice, tastes better.
Nice.
And then the Margaux, we can have it with some cheese, I reckon, at some point. But we're pretty much stocked. We're good to go. Like, we've got everything. I don't need to get anything now. We just now tidy the house, make it look nice, because we've got people coming over tomorrow, which is, but you don't have to do that. You go to mum's and she'll tidy the house.
Yeah, what tidying she's got to do. I still feel like, so Rebecca's out with the kids just now at friends, and I feel like I've now got an opportunity to score some points. So I may do some house cleaning.
That's it, Neil. That's the spirit.
Get my tally.
And that's it. That's your week. Tesco shopping and getting a bit drunk again.
Yeah. What about you?
My week. So I've had 2 gym sessions.
Wow, since the last book.
Unbelievable. So
on it, Gordon.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, if you perhaps I mentioned it in the last episode. I can't remember if I have, but basically, Laura signed up to this gym some months ago called T2 Fit. It's a group personal training thing. So you do six people to one trainer, and you follow a program, and it's upper, like all over body, upper, lower kind of setup. It's got classes, and it's it's not cheap, but basically they gave out a 30-day free trial thing as part of like a gift or something to members. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to jump on that, try it out, see what it's like, and just try and kickstart my ass back into the gym again. And yeah, it's been really good. Today was legs, and that was pretty hardcore, pretty tough. I have to swallow my pride quite a lot and my ego because A, I'm being told what to do, which is unusual for me. It's not. I don't normally get told what to do in the gym. Also, my kind of difficult aspect of, oh yeah, I'm a personal trainer and I know what I'm doing. Yeah. So I've got to get over that. But it's been really nice. It's really, really good. I've enjoyed it, and I can see there being benefit in me doing it or continuing to do it, but I think the cost aspect, like, it's not cheap. So I think we'll balance that, really, to be honest. And the other thing that's always quite interesting is ultimately, like, I've regressed. So I haven't really exercised for, say, 6 months, or weight trained for 6 months, maybe a bit longer. And I'm not as strong as I was. I was doing 120 kilo back squat for 3 sets of 6 or something. Now, I forget that that's still almost double what anyone else was lifting. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's so even though I regress, I regress to the point where I'm still quite considerably stronger than everyone else, and I should just realize that and carry on. Take the positives that even if I don't necessarily exercise, I'm probably still going to carry some level of strength that most people don't possess because of all the work that I've done previously. And it's simply just a case of just putting the bricks back on the wall and then building it back up to something. So I enjoyed that. And then that's pretty much been it, really. Like, turkey's arrived. So the turkey's in the fridge. I'm not sure it's quite... I don't know how big it is. Like, this was an expensive turkey, and it said between 6 and 8 people, but we'll see. I think it should be fine. So
yeah, it's always that, like, do you have enough food? Kind of. Oh,
we should have loads, Neil. Like, we've got freaking food everywhere, so that should be fine. And then yeah, just prepping that. I guess we've got dinner tonight with Laura's mum and dad. They're staying over,
so nice.
They get to enjoy the Christmas morning with Olivia, which is going to be really fun. And we're going to have a Ruby Murray curry thing from the Dishoom cookbook, and then I'm going to get the big green egg out, turn it into tandoori oven, and stick it all in and really enjoy it. So yeah, we're just ready to go, to be honest. The whole Christmas thing.
Lovely. Is yeah, I guess Olivia, does she understand, like, tomorrow's going to be mad presents?
No, she's not that conscious, but she's definitely conscious to the point where there's, like, presents and there's baubles on the tree, and I think it'll kind of probably settle into her little brain that there's something going on that's a bit different, I guess. Because Jack's going to be there, Catherine's going to be there, her grandparents are going to be there, we'll be there, we'll all be sitting around having dinner, opening presents, like, doing all that kind of stuff. She'll have lots of new things, so I imagine there'll be something clocking in her brain somewhere, surely.
Yeah, that'll be nice. The boys woke up at 5:30 this morning, thinking it was Christmas. Yeah, but they didn't get disappointed. They were just still excited about it's tomorrow.
How much are you looking forward to a 5 a.m. wake up call tomorrow?
Oh, I think just to see their faces and, like, the absolute carnage it comes with, especially the boys. Like, Isla's quite, I wouldn't say reserved, but just takes her time and stuff with the presents. I can imagine the boys, this is the first proper Christmas of, like, they're 4.5. They're going to be well into just finding out what's it. But Ben's got an interesting thing. So he's opened up a few presents just from friends recently, and if he doesn't like it, he throws it.
Oh.
So it's, yeah, I don't know how to snap him out of that one. Lewis is absolutely fine. He just kind of gets on with it. Oh, this is cool. But Ben got a Peppa Pig book from a neighbour yesterday, and he opened it and he was just like, what's this?
Wow.
And, like, launched it.
Well, he's clearly learned that from you, Neil. Is that what you do when you get presents?
So yeah, I don't know what it's going to be like. Interesting.
Maybe he's just being dramatic.
Yeah.
Like, you can hardly, if a parent, for example, sort of turns around to you and says your kid's rude, you're like, well, I don't know. I mean, my other kid's all right. This one's just a bit rogue.
Yeah, at least I've got like a benchmark of like, Isla's okay, Lewis is great.
Oh, 2 out of 3 nil. 77, 66% of your kids are perfectly fine. There's just one rogue one. There's always one rogue one. Let's be honest.
Yeah. But, I mean, Isla did go through a stage of like not being that kind of overly generally through things, but just like a bit disappointed, I guess, and she's not sure how to show it.
Oh,
Like, because when we get presents, we know, like, especially if we don't actually like it, we'll still like say thanks and put a smile on their face. But kids just have a very, I don't know what the word is.
there's no filter.
Yeah, there's no filter, so they don't really know how to react when they don't like something.
I mean, fair enough. Like, if someone gives you a shit present, you should probably tell them.
Yeah, kids do.
Yeah, because it's like, I don't. Yeah, if someone think, because also there's like the side effect. There's also a problem of if someone thinks they've given you a really nice present, and then actually it's crap. You're like, someone's expectations here are off.
Yeah.
And that's why I just get kind of, I guess I get a little bit annoyed about this whole kind of like present giving aspect of things. Certainly in like, yeah, just the whole across the board. In fact, where it's nice to get things that are nice and you wanted them, enjoyed them, and you want to use them. But I equally think that it's just such a waste of money, to buy people things that they don't want or don't need. Like I genuinely, and I know it sounds really boring and pragmatic, but if you taken that Pepper Pig thing, which was £5 for the book, let's say, and put it in his ISA, but it would, like in 14 years' time, that £5's going to be at least worth 50.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you rather that? Like, and if you think it compounding, like how many presents that these parents have all given out and done everything, it's probably £100. And that £100, again, over the space of like 14 years of his ISA, it's going to be worth £500. And I don't know. I just think that it's just, I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to deal with it, Neil. I know it sounds really boring and it's a bit, a bit difficult, but at the same time, I'm just like, just put some money in the ISA. Like that'd be fine.
Yeah.
I'll give it to charity or something like that.
Yeah, it's hard.
Because imagine me turning up to like a parents thing going, by the way, I put £5 in your kid's ISA.
The kid's like, what? Yeah. I don't know how you get over that, because like as Isla gets older, she loves presents, and the boys are now well.
But you can still get them presents, right? Because they don't, like, from a present perspective, kids don't really understand like value. They understand fun. That's their value, right? Is the fun thing.
Yeah.
And whatever's on TV. So if the present costs £10 or £100, it matters neither way for them.
Yeah.
But it does for us. And we recognize that money has value, and compounding interest on money has value. And ultimately, when they're 18, if they've got 20 grand in their bank, they might be able to use that for whatever they want that would ultimately add even more value to their lives in terms of their education or a car or a house or traveling or that kind of thing. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Guess I've gone kind of off-piste on the whole our 2020 goals thing, but maybe we can deal with that next Christmas and see how I get on.
Like, just to stay on that point a little bit, every year about this time of year, we did this a few weeks ago, but we look at the toy room and like look at the boys' room and Isla's room and like see what's there. Are they getting too old for toys, and just fill up bags of stuff and take it to the charity shop? And just the amount of stuff we take out of the house that they're probably not seen. It's frightening. Like, I would say if they're brand new toys, it'd be in the hundreds of pounds.
But exactly. But even if it's not even new, if it's hundreds of pounds, it's still probably a couple £100 you're just taking off to the charity shop. And I get it. You want that short-term pleasure and that kind of thing. But equally, I don't know. Like, I think next year I'm going to start setting rules around Olivia. And if people are buying presents, then half of the value of the present has to go in her ISA. So you're spending double now. Just because, I think Olivia's up to nearly £1,000 in her ISA, and that's a decent amount of money. That if we can keep doing that every year, every 2 years, then it's going to be a decent amount of cash just sat in there, right?
Yep.
Anyway, with enough of my gripes about the Christmas present buying and costs of such. Into our goals, like I listened to. Did you listen to episode number 1? You didn't listen to it. You just remembered all of the goals that you'd set.
So I don't know. Every year for the last 4 or 5 years, I've wrote it in a note and I've got the note in front of me. I wrote it in the 7th of January, 2022.
Written, Neil. Written.
And I've got 2022 goals. And then at the start of the year, I started like, right, I want to break down these goals into like January goals, February goals, March goals. So I've got like a note of
Right. Okay, shall we kick off? Reading 12 books, Neil. Did you manage it?
I didn't. Oh, you're frozen. Anyway, I'll carry on. Hopefully, I'll come back. Yeah, I didn't manage to read 12 books. Unfortunately, I think I've got to 7 or maybe 8 books. And at the start of the year, I was so motivated and like I felt like I had loads of time. And this is excuses. But yeah, towards the latter part of the year, I kind of fell out of love with books. And I think I got stuck into so I bought a book. It's James Dyson, his name is. Founder of Dyson, obviously, and I was really interested in the story. And I got a third way through the book, and it was pretty awful. And cause it was very, very like technical and how he did the inventions and stuff. And I wasn't really interested in that. I thought it was more about his life, and it was interesting hearing his life. But I got stuck into that book, and I was like, I need to finish this before I can move on to the next book. But I should have just said, "This is a rubbish book. Let's put it down and forget it."
Yes.
So, yeah. I got like 6 or 7 books, I think, or maybe 8. I've got like a list of them, which is not bad. It's more than I've ever read.
Yeah, I think the whole book thing of continuing to have to read it, right? Once you've started it, and this kind of sunk cost fallacy thing is just nonsense. And I've kind of adopted that more, where if I start a book and I'm like, this is rubbish, I'm like, just don't finish it. I don't care. Like I'm not wasting my time reading this book. If I'm not enjoying it, next one. There's so many books in the world that I can read and I can go through. But equally, when I really find a good one, I go ham on it and read it and recommend it and enjoy it. So, no, I definitely say that. I've read more this year than I've read for quite some time. So I wouldn't say I've hit 12 books, but I've certainly got close to the double figures, which is nice, even considering we've got kids, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. And I'm just trying to think of like a memorable book, if the 1.5 listeners are listening. Like Atomic Habits, I read this year. Die with Zero, read this year. Happy Sexy Millionaire was last year. They're not all through here. Yeah, I mean, like I learned about an ultramarathon. I did my finance reading. Like, I've done quite a lot of scary, smart. I've read a pretty decent amount of books, but I'm trying to think of a highlight of like a book I'd recommend.
This is great listening, Neil.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my bookshelf in the background. If you're,
yeah, I'd probably say 2 books that I really enjoyed. One was 21. Is it 21 Immutable Laws of Marketing? It's quite an old book, but it basically just talks about, basically marketing and how you should market yourself. And it's very clever, and it really stands the test of time. Doing it now is great. And then I think Die with Zero was very good. I read that this year. And then the last one I just read was Hell Yeah or No by Derek Sivers. Absolutely fantastic. Very good book. I would highly recommend. So yeah.
There's actually a good app that I have called Goodreads. And it's just a way that you can set reading challenges and you can like mark down all the books you've read. And it's a nice log of the ones you've read. If you've got them on Kindle and stuff, I find if you've got them on Kindle, they just get lost.
Yeah.
I'm very much into my hardback books now.
Short form's also very good. You can subscribe to that, and it basically takes a synopsis of the book overall.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Why not?
There's a couple of services. I don't know. I think there's a lot more to reading than just like learning stuff.
Very stoic of you, Neil.
I've got nothing else to say about it, but yeah, I feel like it relaxes your mind. It takes you back to, I don't know, just.
But do you not think that if you used short form, for example, then you would have not wasted your time on the Dyson book? Because the short form is like a synopsis, right? So you just kind of get some key points from the book, and then you can do the thing you're talking about. It just means that you're probably less likely to waste your time, right? True.
Yeah, that Dyson one, like I read maybe a few weeks of it. It was just a bit. What one book, while we're still on books, and Gordon will laugh at this, but I've had this book for years now, and I've read it multiple times. But if somebody's looking for a book, I always go back to it and say,
what's it called, Neil? Because not everyone's going to watch the YouTube.
Yeah, The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. And it's basically a page a day for the whole year. and it takes like different quotes from various Stoics in the Roman times, and distills them into like what it would mean in the modern age, and it's just some really wholesome content.
I love when you like explain things that you get excited about. You never actually sound excited.
My tone of voice. Rebecca gets on to that.
yeah.
I've got a really bad tone of voice.
I'm really, really, really excited about this book.
You sound so pissed off. Stop speaking to me like that. That was last night.
Fair enough.
Anyway, what was your first goal?
Get back into fitness. Which
Here we are, Gordon.
Which is semi gone good and semi gone bad, I guess. Yeah, I don't feel in great shape. I don't feel very confident about it. Don't feel very happy about it. Feel a bit disappointed in myself. But yeah, it just comes down to like a priorities thing, right? You know, I don't get up in the morning now and go to the gym. I get up in the morning and have breakfast and watch TV and then start work. You know, which is bad. Like, it's not good. And there's no end to good that comes from being fitter.
Yeah.
Really. So again, it's probably going to be in the 2023 goals, but I've just got to get back into it and find ways to do it and get into a routine and enjoy it, because it's just the more I keep kicking the can down the road, the worse it's going to get, right? So I've got to pull my trousers up and get on with it.
Do you need the kind of motivation? Like, for me, it's going to be entering into a race, which we can get into in my next goal.
But I don't want that to be the thing that defines whether I exercise or not. Because I think a lot of people fall into
started.
Sure, but I think a lot of people fall into a trap of some kind where, you know, they finish the thing and then they're like, oh, what do I do now? You know, and it comes to this kind of cyclic nature where I'd rather have this kind of 50-year target of exercise regularly. And I guess I could, you know, sign up to a marathon or sign up to a 10K or sign up to a powerlifting competition or whatever else. But, you know, the effort that's required to do that is really high, like super high. And also the fact that if I was to do, say, a powerlifting competition, I want to do better. I don't want to just do the same. Whereas I'd actually rather just have this kind of idea of doing pretty much progressively the same thing, maybe a little bit more, a little bit better, but just enjoy the elements that come with health and fitness. You know, the overall well-being that you get from it, the ultimate health implications that come from exercising regularly, and even like the social aspect, you know, going for a run with my father-in-law when we do the whole Banstead park run sort of thing. Like that's it. And then also the example to Olivia of someone who exercises. Like, dad goes to the gym, dad goes to do some bits and pieces, and then to help be a good husband, really. You know, ultimately, it's not Laura's responsibility to take care of me. It's my responsibility to take care of myself. And health is a large part of that, because I don't want her to be burdened with a frail old man who is obese and can't look after himself, right? You don't want that. Nobody wants that. So I guess those things are my motivators, not necessarily the short-term aspect of, because I've been there. I've done it all, done the bits and pieces that I want to do. And that's not to say that I perhaps wouldn't want to do them again, but yeah, I just don't want to get in that cyclic nature of, I've got to set myself a challenge to get back into it, when really it's just like, just go and bloody do it.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Clip that, Neil. That's a good reel. Yeah, talking about exercise, you've got 1,000 miles you said you do this year, and what's the dealio, Neil? How close are we?
What's the dealio? I'm not going to hit the 1,000, which is frustrating. But
how far off are you?
So I've hit 705 miles now. I was injured for 6 months, 6 weeks out of that, and kind of getting back into it was challenging. But yeah, start of the year, I mean, every week up until my injury, which was quite recent, I was running 30 to 40 miles a week. And yeah, then the injury hit. I did a little bit of running and then stopped for 6 weeks and then just declined slowly. But now I'm getting back into it. Like, I'm up to 20 miles a week now. But I'll probably hit 7. What are we now? I'll probably hit 7:15 or 7:20.
So why don't you just go for a run tomorrow, do 280?
Yeah, run halfway down to you. Am I disappointed? no, because it was out with my control. I proved to myself that I've ran more than last year, and I kept up a decent routine of running. Like to get 30, 40 miles a week is pretty demanding, but also takes a lot of self-discipline. So yeah, I'm not disappointed.
Just a bit meh. Just be like, oh, is that because when you set a goal, and this is something that I've kind of thought about, is when, because it goes back to my point of the whole kind of setting a date and a time and, I'm going to do this marathon thing and sign up to this thing. But in actual fact, I kind of take more of a, oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool if I could do that. That kind of, I've got a bit of a target, but if I don't meet it, I don't meet it. But if I do, then that'd be great. And, it's more of a dreamlike type of thing. It's like I can envision myself doing it, but not necessarily being like, this is a hard deadline to do this thing at this time and finish that time and that progression. When really I'm like, oh yeah, no, it'd be cool to do 1,000 miles. Do you think because you took that approach to it rather than the harshness that you could have?
I think you're right. And also the realization, and it kind of ties into my next one, which I'll touch on, is running an ultramarathon, which I want to do this year. And like to get to that ultramarathon, I was doing lots of miles, lots of different training techniques. And then not inevitably, but eventually I got injured. And then it kind of made me question, like, why am I wanting to run this ultramarathon? Because I'm just risking the chance of, because the more you push yourself, the more chance you're going to get of injury. So why am I doing this? Because I couldn't, for 6 weeks, I couldn't really run with the kids. I was I wouldn't say I was sorry for myself, but I felt a bit annoyed and a bit down. Because I knew like the ultramarathon this year was out, it was just not on the cards. So I'm like, do I go back to that this year or 2023?
I think so. I actually think you should. I think you should do it because you've said you've wanted to do it, and I understand the implications, but you'd have to do it again.
I know. Yeah, exactly. I do it once, and
you do once, you do a good one, and you just say you've done it. Like that's it, because you said you wanted to do it, so there's still clearly a part of you that wants to do something like that. And in my eyes, it would be a case of just make it a really good one then, and go and do it and finish it. And sure, there's going to be some bumps along the way and some roadblocks, but at the end of the day, I think you said you wanted to do it for some reason or another. So then go and do it then.
Yeah, I just think people don't, and you'll realize, but people don't realize, like, you say you want to run an ultra, but it's years of training. It's not just like, let's do 12 weeks of training and then do an ultra. Of course, there's commitment. Like, I get all that, but if you said you wanted to do it, go and do it. Just do it once.
Yeah. Tick the box. Take the itch. I might come and watch you.
Thanks. But yeah, like I'm still very much into my running. I haven't fallen off the bandwagon of I did another kind of running achievement this year. It wasn't really a goal, but I totaled it up and I've run 14 sub 20 5Ks. So that's 14 5Ks under 20 minutes, which nice. I think is pretty mad. Like the year before that, I was struggling to get under 20 minutes. I think I did it once. This year, I'm definitely getting faster. The shoes probably helped with my Nike Air Vaporflies because I got them this year. So yeah, it was a decent tick. But like I need to, and I was chatting to my boss, Craig, he's done hundreds of ultramarathons. He's ran over 150 miles in a race before. And he's like, you need to slow down because I've just got I need to get off Strava or like take the pace off my watch or something because I'm a sucker for getting like the fastest time I can. And that's just a road
that's the opposite.
Injury.
That's the opposite of an ultramarathon. Ultramarathon is about finishing, not necessarily the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting through it. So I need to, maybe 2023 goal is going to be stop focusing on pace and just enjoy the run.
Yeah, because I think one of the Casey Neistat things, which I think is quite a good piece of feedback for people that run, he's obviously a very keen runner, is just distance, right? Don't worry about time. Don't worry about pace. Don't worry about that. Just distance is your aim. So if you want to do a marathon, at the end of the day, it's about the distance. It's not necessarily about the time. So just each day, each time you go, run an extra mile or an extra kilometer and just keep adding them up. And I think that's what I did when I went traveling in 2017 when I was running quite a lot. It was just a case of, I'll do a 5K or a 4K and then I'll do a 6K and then a 7, maybe an 8. And then if I felt good, I'd push to a 10. And then eventually I got up to like 16K was the furthest I sort of ran. And again, it wasn't about time necessarily. Shorter distance surely probably were, depending on how much time I actually had to run. But yeah, if I wanted to do distance, it was kind of just add a bit on, add a bit on, add a bit on. And that's kind of what you should probably be doing, like probably less of the sprint stuff and more of just the distance stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. Because I do find that I get sore legs and niggles and stuff if I run a sub 25k. That's probably not the best for me. Anyway, that was my ramble on about running. What was your next one?
House renovations. I don't know why that was a goal, because I listened to our first episode and I was like, why is house renovation? I was getting through it.
Complete it, yeah.
And did I, was I a naive property owner thinking he'd get through a renovation quite easily? And it's been an entire year and it's still not done.
At the start of the year, did you think it would still be going?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't really know. Like, I don't know what I kind of got myself into. I knew I wanted an extension, but then you don't really realize how long it takes these things and how much money it costs and how much people will let you down and how, just the incompetence, I think, just really annoys me. I look at something. I'm not a builder. I'm useless at DIY. Useless. But when there's a hole in the plaster and you go, why did you leave that there? You're a bit like, ugh. So I guess the house build took longer than it probably should have done, 6 months or so, maybe partly based on some of our decisions in terms of like slow approach to things, but also people just like tradesmen being busy, to supply issues, to other bits and pieces. So it meant we were living with Dave and Denise for like 6 months or something. Thanks to them for putting up with us. But we got in, and the little bits and pieces have now got finished. Like, eventually we got our flooring, eventually we got our skirting boards done, but there's still other things that we still need to do to the house. Like, but some of them can't be done until like February. We've had our render done, so we've got to wait until get that painted, and then we get our driveway done in January and all these kind of things. And I think it's just a case of we're back in our house. We're still really enjoying it. Like, tomorrow we're going to have an absolutely fantastic time in a new extension. Really, really enjoy it. But there's still defects and things that I need to fix and do them myself. And then there's still other bits and pieces. So I guess, yeah, it's definitely taken longer than I would have expected it to. The expense of it all it's difficult to say that it's absolutely worth it, because I still see this house as a step to the next house. I don't necessarily see this as my home just yet. It is my home, but not like, it's like a 10-year project, I guess, and it's not necessarily a thing that I'm going to live in for 25 years. I think it's going to help me get to that next big house that I really want. And that's where I'm like, all this money that was spent, I'm hoping it's going to come back when we sell it. Which I think it will, and it's a nice house. It's going to be good anyway. It's just kind of things like that, I guess. And one thing I'm quite glad about this year, in terms of that goal and getting the house sort of renovated, was that it was a small project. There's a romantic part of me feels like building a house or doing massive extension or something like that onto another house is something I'd probably like to do. And this has at least got my feet wet, my ankles wet, probably up to my shins wet, in terms of how much these things cost, how long they take, what kind of people you work with, how you work with them, all these kind of things that I wouldn't have ever thought of. That now I can go into a big project and really be like, I know exactly what, or at least very close to what I'm looking for, in case someone doesn't do a good job, or if someone's going to do a good job, or how long things potentially take, or how much they cost, and all that kind of stuff. So I am definitely grateful for that. And I'd say I could probably do a tick in terms of like, we managed to get it done and we managed to afford it, and we're also not in debt for it. And I love it. It's fantastic. Like, I sit downstairs sometimes doing some work, and I just, the raining outside, and I'm sitting on my laptop, just me in the house, and I'm like, this is amazing, because we've got the big bifold doors, and it's lovely.
Yeah. No, I think, yeah, I'm not sure why it was a goal, but it's good that you've achieved it. And yeah, enjoy the space. I've seen it once. I've seen it a few times, but it was very quick, short-lived. Can't wait to have like a nice meal in it. And
it's a fantastic entertaining space, and I think that's one of the nicest parts of it, because I've lived in London for 11 years now, and they've generally been flats, or I was at my other house, which was a kind of a galley kitchen, which was nice enough, but the problem was that you were kind of very cut off when you were cooking. People were in the living room, the dining room, and you were sort of in the kitchen slaving away. But now we've got this open plan kitchen, diner, island in the middle, so what tends to happen is people kind of gather around the island with a glass of champagne or a glass of wine or something, or a beer. Everyone starts to chat, and then we move onto the dining table and have dinner, right? And that's just such a nice transition compared to what anything else I've ever had. So It's absolutely amazing. And to be honest, like the first few times that we started using the space in that way, I started to well up a little bit, and just the feeling of it was it just felt really good, you know.
Nice.
So talking about me spending money, have you managed to earn some more money with a second income?
Yeah, that was my other goal. My next goal was like second income, and also learn more about kind of financials and stuff like that. So I read a really good book actually in start of February by Jim Collins called, let me get the Simple Path to Wealth. Or J.L. Collins, I don't know if it was Jim, but J.L. Collins. And it was a very, very good book. It articulates like investing in ISAs and all that kind of stuff really well. And it's UK based, so you can kind of make sense of it from a UK perspective. And
so has it all of the things that I've talked about with you over this year, have I been far off?
No, yeah, it's bang on. So
great.
I think I can't remember when we did it, but each of our kids now has an ISA that we put money in every month, and a stocks and shares one. So hopefully in 10, 15, 20 years time, it will be accumulation is kind of the key. And that's what Jim Collins is all about. He's like, it's a long game. Unless you've got hundreds of thousands or millions to invest in. If you're just the average Joe, then it's a long game. Think about it as a long game and start early. And I've said this in other podcasts, but I wish I knew that when I was washing dishes at Pataudry House Hotel, age 13 years old.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Neil. Like, just imagine where we'd be now if we were 18 and putting some cash in a thing. But you know, it's no one's fault. It's just it wasn't a thing that we knew about, right?
And it's something I've kind of vowed to teach our kids when they get their first job, if it's a paper round or if it's, I don't know what it's going to be, but I don't even know if paper rounds are a thing anymore. But yeah, just like their first job, go and put like 25% of your money a week or a month into something, and we'll see where it goes. So yeah, it was a really good learning curve. In terms of second income, personally, no. So I now don't have two streams of income. I've still got my one from my job, but Rebecca started working. So yeah, she's working 3 days a week, which is nice, which is kind of a second income. Never had that for 7 years.
What, shipping your wife out to go do a job?
But yeah, like, I don't know. I looked at this and yeah, I don't know how I feel. I don't think it'll be in my 2023 goals.
Yeah, but the thing I think you've looked at is you had a physical products business
with the bakery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And physical products rarely make that much of a margin. But if they do make a margin, say a bakery, for example, the margin is, when you look at it from a monetary perspective, you have to sell a lot of them to actually make decent money, right?
Yeah.
You've got to sell on volume. And I'd be curious if you explored in 2023 something more digital. You know, something that, you know, some service that you could offer, you could put it on Skillshare, you could make an ebook or a product or whatever else, and then sell it online. I think that to me would be a smart move in 2023 for you. Like, why don't we create a how to podcast course?
Oh, yeah, maybe that's a thing.
Because like the bakery is great. It was a great idea, and it obviously sold very well. But it's just the problem is the profitability aspect and the manual labor that it requires. Whereas when you create a digital product, the manual labor is up front. Like, you've got to put the time in, put the effort in, and then do the whole shebang. But at the end of the day, like, it's pretty straightforward. Once you've done it, you put it on something like Skillshare or you sell it as a product, and you make cash out of it.
Yeah. I mean, we could explore that.
All right. There we go.
This 2023 goal.
Done.
But I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm gutted. It's nice to certainly have a second income, because as I mentioned, for 7 years it's been mine and mine only. So when we get paid at different times, so like I get paid mid-month, Rebecca gets paid at the end of the month. It's like, oh, I've got another bit of cash. Great. And it still hasn't sunk in yet.
Sure, but that's like, I think that's fair enough. But I think I'm going to probably push you a bit more for next year to actually have something that's not necessarily dependent on you both going to work.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, I think we talked about it before, is like you having some level of cash reserves, like backup in the bank that's there, sat there, ready for you, waiting for you, you know, is probably a very good idea. And equally, having a second income of something that's even £1,000 a month, right? That's going to that would make a huge difference to your lives. Not only in the security of saying, okay, that at least I've got this coming in outside of my job, but also the 12 grand a year you could use to go on 2 holidays at least.
Yeah. So, and like now Rebecca is kind of, and this could be another podcast. Maybe we could get her on and to discuss her next journey, next chapter of life. But she had a go at that. So she was like dental nursing, and then she raised her kids, and then she did the kind of entrepreneurial thing and created a bakery, coffee shop. And now she's kind of dabbling her feet in the world of tech, and she's starting a course in January the 11th, and so hopefully by this time next year, she'll be kind of a juniorish role in some kind of technical organization.
Nice.
Which again, yeah, I think, yeah, I've always said early when the kids are young, I'm okay with the kind of being the main breadwinner, and like not living on a shoestring, because we've not been living on a shoestring, but just like, I don't know what the word is, living a bit frugally and just watching our pennies, and into next year or towards the end of next year, just having, as you say, even if it's £1,000 a month or 1,500 a month, it's going to be a massive difference.
Huge, massive. So yeah, I'm going to nudge you on that a little bit, and we can come up with some ideas. But I think that how to podcast for beginners, or how to podcast for dads, that'd be pretty fun. Yeah, I had another goal. My other goal was kind of, I think I made up these all on the spot for some reason, but basically it was like a goal of becoming more professional. I recognized that for best part of 10 years, I was kind of going solo, and you have to basically just be all things to all parts of the business. You're an accountant, you're a marketer, you are a copywriter, you're a videographer, you're a social media person, you're, the actual person that delivers the product thing, you're the manager, you're all those kind of things. And half of it you're winging, if not 75% you're winging it, and the other 25% you think you know what you're doing. So my goal was to, I guess, come across be more professional, because when I started the year, it was employed. I was going to go and start as part of a team. I was going to work with a bunch of editors, a bunch of like other team members, social media, YouTube producers, that kind of thing. So my goal was to improve from a professional perspective. So get really good at the whole creative videography aspect of things, but then also how I was going to help like manage a team and, do spreadsheets and finance management, all that kind of stuff. And I guess even in the sort of 7 months that I was employed, or 8 months, I think I still improved a lot in terms of understanding how to communicate with people better, how to manage workflows in terms of the production aspect of things, how to manage budgets better. And I think the biggest one was probably the negotiation of the workplace. When you want something done, you can't just be a bull in a china shop and be like, do this, or else. You've got to kind of be like, so have you thought of this idea? And, have you thought of this? And that kind of thing. So it's definitely led me back into the freelance world of understanding that I reckon I could probably build a team a lot better than I previously tried to, where I just didn't know the systems. I didn't know how to work with people. I didn't really know how to like manage them very well. And now I think I've probably got a better idea of doing all of that. And even from a systems perspective, like not necessarily just doing all the things, I could probably outsource some aspects of stuff. I could probably find tools that would help to do stuff like this podcast, for example. Like a lot of the tools that we use are all AI based, or they're automatic, rather than them being me in the trenches, like in a Premiere Pro trying to sort it all out and whatever else. Now I can just click buttons and it makes my life much easier. So I think that's probably going to lead into 2023, when we talk about our goals aspect of things, but definitely the more professional stuff, it's helped, it's got better, I can tick it, but there's still probably a lot of work to do, to be honest. Yeah,
no, I think that's a fair one. And it's never been really a goal of mine, but I'm quite driven to, look at improvements in my career. And like a book I'm reading just now is all about like business storytelling and how to make a slide deck that actually communicates the vision and the story behind it and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, like I don't know why, but I really enjoy that aspect of personal development. It's not necessarily like running more or learning a new language. It's about how I can improve in the kind of business life.
Yep, that's fair. And a 3-month buffer, Neil. Was that a goal? How's that going?
Same as the second income. Yeah. I don't know, like I think until, and this is a weird one because I've been through redundancy, so I know what it's like to have like a finite amount of time to lose the income and need to have that buffer. But I just feel like if the worst case scenario is I get a letter from my job and I get a month's notice, but probably longer. I think I'd reckon probably get 3 months notice. And within 3 months, the contacts I have, I mean, I got 3 or 4 months ago, I got offered a job that I could have taken on similar salary. So like, it doesn't worry me. I don't know why. Like I've got
you can't.
I know it's not enough.
There's a bad attitude, Neil.
God's giving me trouble on the pod. It is a bad attitude.
It's a bad attitude because it's not a lot to ask of you to have 3 to 6 months in the bank, liquid, ready to go. It's not.
Yeah,
because
I know.
Because it's, you know, at the end of the day, the worst case scenario is something I don't ever want you have to worry about, right? Because
I still think I'm young, so I'm 31 years old.
There's all of that. I get it. You've got the ambition. You're driven. You're determined. You've got the intelligence to do all of that stuff. There is no harm in having 3 months cash in the bank. None.
I agree, but I think that I think that goal came from Rebecca had started the bakery, and we envisaged a decent salary coming in from that business. So with my income, trying to get a 3 month reserve, I think we would struggle. So I think that probably came in thinking Rebecca would be earning, so we just put that money straight into an account.
But I think if, you know, when we talk about sort of 2023 goals and when you maybe consider them, you know, this is big brother chat. I think that, you know, ultimately the first few months of the year that's probably or should be your target, if I'm honest. Like, I know I'm telling you what to do, but if you have 3 months in the bank, it just makes your decision making so much easier. You know, even if, because we don't know, like next year we're running into a recession. The year after that, we're probably going to be in a recession. You have no idea what potentially isn't ahead of you. And if you've got 3 months that you're probably going to get from your business, if you get made redundant, plus an extra 3 months, you've got 6 months to sort yourself out, because you're going to have a lull period slightly of, I feel a bit depressed, I feel a bit sad because I've lost my job, I don't know what to do. You'll have that month, and then you'll get the next 5 months to be able to find something you really, really want. And you don't want to have to live in this world of, I need a job versus I want this job. And if you were to get made redundant right now, 3 months isn't long. 3 months that goes by real quick. And the more senior you get as well, the more interviews you're going to have to ultimately go through, especially with new companies and things. So just get 3 months in the bank, please.
Yeah, like I definitely get where you're coming from. And it is something I aspire to have. And I think it will come when the timing is right.
Good. I look forward to it. I look forward to telling me that you're taking me to Dubai because you've got 4 months in the bank. My last but not least one was to get through a year of podcasting. You know, we committed to this sort of set out target. It was a nice to have thing. Like I would have wanted to do an entire year of podcasting, but you know, ultimately things happen, right? Stuff comes up. It can be quite challenging to get these episodes out sometimes, even though you'd think an hour a week is not that difficult, but sometimes it can be. But to get through a year of podcasting, there's a big tick on that, right? We coming pretty much to the end of the year. I see no means that it's going to stop. I can see it continuing quite happily. And I just think it's brilliant. I think it's been a real lesson, a real journey, a real interest. It's been fascinating to get to know more about you, what you like, what you dislike, about your goals and aspirations. And yeah, I just think getting through this podcast, I was scrolling through, we've got an archives thing that we have in notes, and then even scrolling through all of the episodes that we've done on Spotify. You know, that's a lot of content. Like we've done 55 episodes in a year.
Yeah. That's
a lot.
Oh no, yeah, definitely. Spotify did this amazing thing though, for podcasters and like how much content you've done and your stats explorer. Here we go. And I can't remember how many hours it was that we've produced and like put out there. But when I saw that number, I was like, wow. And the number of countries we're involved in was just mad. This
Another
Oh,
good
great
listening
setup.
thing, Neil. Yeah, you should just see if you're on YouTube right now, you'll see it. But for those that are just listening on, say, Spotify or Apple Podcast, you've got Neil's sort of vacant look into the abyss of his computer, trying to work out where to find it. But yeah.
Although I've got it open, but it just says like, oh, in 2022 you did your thing and people loved it. Here we go. And then it's just got like loads of animations. It's not very interesting.
Oh, okay, great.
Oh, here we go. You created 2,509 minutes of new content. That's more than 99% of other creators in children and family category.
Really?
Apparently so.
Wow. Because that's it, right? Like, how many people do the same, like, one thing every single week for an hour?
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
That's not normally part of their, daily routine, like sleeping or eating. So that's why I think getting through the entire year of doing podcasting was just it's just been really good. And like Alex O'Morsey says, the first year is just finding your voice. And I think we're definitely on that path of all the stuff that we've gone through. And I am curious about how we're going to evolve in terms of content and how we continue to come up with ideas to talk about stuff. But I guess that's just under us to read books and read the news and like develop and find stuff that's interest to us. So yeah, I don't know. I thought it was just a big goal of mine. I thought, it'd be really cool if we managed to get a whole year in the bank, and we've got a whole year worth of podcasting, which is fantastic.
Yeah, just to finish it off, there's another thing from Spotify. It's been heard in 31 countries, and the top 5 are the UK, Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Ireland.
Look at us.
That's pretty mad.
International.
Yeah.
But that's where like kind of
countries.
online. That's where like the online thing. It's just rather than having a captive market where you have a shop and you basically just get footfall or people that might find out about you. But that's going to be within the local area. It's rare that someone would necessarily drive to come to a shop that you've created. But if you can produce something and create something online, it's mind blowing. I had back when I was doing online personal training, I had clients all over the world. Literally, I had a client in Afghanistan that he used to work for the UN. And he wanted personal training and to help coach him do stuff. Like, that's bonkers. So I think there's again with the health and fitness stuff. There's no ends to being fitter. No bad thing comes from I think being fitter, but I also think there's not really many bad things that come from making stuff on the internet.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a nuts. But now we just got to try and make some money from this, Neil, so it can pay for all the equipment that I've purchased or subscriptions that I have to uphold. But
Indeed.
Shall we cap it there?
Sounds good. No, that was a good
Excellent.
episode.
Yeah, it's fun. And then the next one, we're going to have to sit down and work out what we're going to achieve in 2023. And maybe I'll read 12 books. Who knows? But either way, just I want to say thank you very much for listening. For the 2.5 listeners that have managed to get to the end of the podcast. We are on all usual platforms. You're probably listening to one now if it's Spotify or podcast or whatever the hell else you're listening on. We're also on YouTube, so if you want to watch and see my shiny new setup that I've managed to put together, then by all means, log in, see what you think. We also have an Instagram page that Neil never posts on, but maybe he'll find a clip from this one and actually post it. Who knows?
Maybe that's a goal. Maybe that's a goal for 2023.
Maybe that's a goal, Neil. Maybe you actually pull your finger out and contribute towards the post-production of this podcast. But yeah, this is Christmas Eve, so I hope you've all had a wonderful Christmas. I hope it's been very much enjoyable. And yeah, I guess we'll see you in the new year, 2023, and see if we can bust out another year of podcasting and then hit next year we might hit episode number 100. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, maybe even 10,000 downloads.
10, I don't know. We only did 3 this year.
Yeah, but
that'd be triple Xing.
We could follow that curve.
Yeah, I mean, if we get if we get over 5,000 downloads for next year, that'd be quite nice. But we shall see. Either way, have a good Christmas, have a great New Year, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Cheers.